What's up, guys? And on this particular episode, I'm going to be discussing this sin of a pastor who was caught recently. Now, at first, people were saying he was caught with a married woman, busy doing the doobity-doos and whatsoever. But when you look further, or the more people started to look, the more the sin started to become very much alarming. Now, when I say the sin, I mean how everything else outside of the act of this particular so-called man of God who was caught with this woman was caught up in. It became clear that this was just not a random katubiditubis kind of doing, okay? They were not just there katubiting themselves, okay? Yeah, we invent words. If it's your first time on this channel, we invent words really hard here. Okay, so first thing that tells you that something's wrong with the sin, there's a pot. There isn't one pot, there is two pots on each side. There's a plate in the middle, and then there is a calabash of a sort, which has a cloth of some sort that's coming out, a black cloth coming out of it. Okay? The pan has been used. You can see the black pan on the ground there. And then there is something like a bottle of some sort with a red ribbon, ribbon around it. But around this thing, there seems to be candlelight lit. That was lit. Like you can see the candle box that he had there, that he came with a couple of candle boxes. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so he used about 9 candles or so and sprayed them around the room. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles next to the place where this calabash is. There's a bigger candle right in the middle of them. Then there's 2 candles all the way to the side as far as we can see. And then their clothes are tossed all the way to the side over there. But then also there is another red ribbon and a black ribbon on the outside. In the first place, when these pictures came out, people only noted that this man was doing this with a married woman. And it was like, oh, pastor, exposed, caught by a husband, cheating with his pregnant wife. So the woman was pregnant. If you go search the story, you will actually see the woman is pregnant. And so we're not going to talk about the woman, because in this case, did this man do something to this woman in order for him to get her in the state where she, first of all, in a state where she could accept being openly willing to do something in a ritual setting? That's the first thing. A lot of times when most of them do rituals, so like they announce it to the person, they just keep it to themselves, isn't it? But then here, it's a different scenario altogether, because the mandem clearly has this laid out right at the bottom of the bed. And at the bottom of the bed, he has this plate, and that's how we know that this was a ritual setting, is that the formation of those items, particularly the pot and then the plate, and then he puts the calabash, which has a rope coming out of it with red something. I hope that's not blood or anything. Hey. And then a pan, and then some form of bottle with a red ribbon around it. This was clearly a ritual setting. So he brought this woman here to get involved with her sexually, but not just that, but for a ritual purpose. So that is the first thing that kind of sparked up in my head. First of all, did he do something to this woman for her to be willing to accept this? I don't know anybody. I don't think, even if Bati, you are hungry. Hi, there's no hunger that goes to this level. Yeah, you can, even if you said the woman was hungry. No, there's no hunger that goes to a level where you be willing to accept ritual. Your baby could die. Okay, for all you know, the ritual might be for that. Okay, because we know that there are rituals that are done with pregnant women. Oh, God forbid for him that this woman should have a miscarriage or anything should happen to their baby. Mandem is going to jail for a very long time. because then it is much clearer. In Nigeria, they don't play those kind of games. It will be much clearer that he's the one who's responsible for it. Yeah, if that woman loses a baby, or she has trouble with delivering a baby or whatever, before we talk about the husband, before any of that stuff, if anything happens to the woman, he is to blame for it, because he did something with her in a state of pregnancy. There is ritual forms that they require pregnant women, and for him to have done this, not only thing, but clearly setting up the scene for his occultic things. Hey, the way God is exposing you people. I'm telling you, if I was you, I'll just quit. If I was a charlatan, this is about time to quit. I mean, like, it's clear. God is exposing every little trick and trickery that you guys could play. And you mandams keep going over there. What are you looking for there? Okay? So they were caught right on the bed, and they try to jump out of the bed. The woman is trying to go into the man. Now, this is where we can now talk about the woman before we go back to this scene. This is a very dirty scene. The woman tries to come back to the husband, and the man is like, don't come to me, nothing. And that's why I wanted to ask you guys. If you caught your partner cheating, right? That's a separate subject. But if you caught them cheating in a ritual setting, what do you make of that? How do you go about that? He's being a pastor, he's a pastor, and he's caught in a ritual setting with your wife. Now, even no matter what explanation she could give you, why were they juju things that are of occultic reasons, or sangomarism and babalaorism and all that kind of stuff? Why is there things that are from that kingdom that needed to be part of this? If she said, no, the prophet said I would lose my child in miscarriage, what, except I do this. But still, why were you willing to do that with all these items around? That raises that flag. How far? Hey, child, forgiveness no easy. Forgiveness no easy, no be easy matter. How then do you deal if you found bearing in mind that she might have been brainwashed to come to a point where she's willing to accept this? Is that a possibility? Is that what might have happened? Because in my normal senses, I cannot see a human being accepting. I can't. I just don't see how a person would be willing to accept being put in a ritual setting like this for sexual pleasure. I just don't see that. I don't see that. And if my partner was in that state, they'll have to explain, like, how? So what were you thinking? Were you thinking at all? How far were you thinking? And what exactly were you thinking? That is the main question. It's like, I'll be so baffled. I'll be so baffled by, so even when you saw the rituals, another question, were you there when he started doing these rituals? And when he put up all these candles and he was doing his own thing, when he bought in the calabash with the red ribbons around thingy, were you there when he was spilling all these candles on the ground and everything? Were you there? Another question, was it his house? Imagine if it was his house and this ritual was done in his house. Do you still stay in your house? How far? What do you do? They do this in your bedroom. Hey, chai. He's God, though. How do you even handle such a scenario? I'm very interested in knowing, how would you handle such a scenario? Do you think she was brainwashed? How far? And what might have caused her to accept? To be honest with you, I think if there was ever a fornicationless, adulterous questions this woman should be questioned. We need to understand this situation better. We need clarity here. Were you aware when you went there? If you were not aware, what did you think it was that you guys were doing? I'm very much interested in knowing that part there, because that's that would tell us a lot more, and it will help us to understand what state of mind were you when you accepted this. So these are all the questions that are ringing at the back of my head. At first, people were just saying she was caught cheating with her husband. Then the more people looked, they were like, excuse me, this looks like a ritual setting. And for me, it is a ritual setting. The calabash, with that thing coming out of it, with that thing coming out of it, with the pot setting out there, and that red ribbon thing, and the candle say, ooh, that's ritual format right there. The Daily Christian Commentary videos, my interest in this video. What would you do if you caught, and in any of the questions that I asked, please answer any one of them. How would you handle such a situation if you caught your partner in? I'm very interested in